All right, good morning, everybody, or good afternoon to some of you. What's going on? Well, obviously, that fight last night between Teofimo Lopez and Jermaine Ortiz, it was not a barn burner. It's not going to go down in history as one of the best fights we've ever seen. No one's saying that, right? But I'm going to give you my opinion on the fight, right? And it's going to be an objective opinion because I did pick Teofimo Lopez to win this fight by decision, right? I did not think he was going to stop Jermaine Ortiz. I said on Thursday on the roundtable, I did not think he was going to look particularly spectacular either. I knew Jermaine Ortiz's style was going to present problems. And I even advised a lot of people to maybe put a small amount of money on Jermaine Ortiz because I felt as though he was a very live dog. And in my opinion, I think he fought like a very live dog because this was a very close competitive fight. I thought this fight could have gone either way. 115, 113, right? 114, 114. Was it impossible to get to 117, 111 for Teofimo Lopez? I don't know. I don't want to say it was impossible, but in my opinion, I thought it was improbable, right? Now, we can look at the punch stats, and I know the punch stats are not the be all end all, but as I've said before, in a lot of cases, sometimes when you look at them, you say to yourself, yeah, this looks like an accurate representation of what I saw. It's pretty much accurate, or at least as close to accurate as they could be. And I spoke with Lee Groves before, and he works for CompuBox. And before, when they used to do the CompuBox, and they used to have one guy count one fighter and another guy count another fighter when they did the CompuBox tallies, those guys would be live in the fight. They would be live at the fight and they would be counting the punches. And we all know when you're live, depending upon where you're sitting, your angle, where the fighter is, sometimes the fighter's back to you, you can't see everything. So some of those punches get missed. And a lot of times when you go to a fight live and you watch it live and you score it a certain way, and then you go home and you score it entirely different because of where you were sitting, how high up, how low you were. Again, fighter's back is to you in certain situations on certain occasions. You can't see everything. But Lee Groves told me that they don't actually have the CompuBox people tallying up the shots. They're not there at the fight. They're watching the fight at home just like us. So they have better angles now when they do the CompuBox. Right? So it's a lot different now. So when they're counting the punches, they're at their home. They have the better angles and stuff and better views. So there's really no blind spots like there are when you're at the fight. And this is why sometimes I do give judges more of a benefit of the doubt than others do because I've been guilty of this myself. I watched Berto Ortiz won live. I was there, right? And like Dan Rafael, I scored that fight a draw live. But then I went home and watched it on television, and I think I had Ortiz winning that fight like 8 rounds to 4. So it's an entirely different fight at home, right? So let's take a look at this fight and let's look at the punch stats because everyone's saying that Jermaine Ortiz did nothing and it was all up to Teofimo Lopez to make this fight, right? Just because he was moving forward and another guy was moving laterally, he was making the fight. Oh, well, Beeb, I mean, you can't just move. You got to throw punches. I mean, Jermaine Ortiz actually threw more punches and landed a tad bit more punches than Teofimo Lopez. Oh, well, Beeb, it's not just the quality, it's not just the quantity, it's the quality of the punches. Neither guy was snapping the other guy's head back. No one was stunned. No one was buzzed. No one was staggered. No one went down. So the shots that Teo did land, they weren't these explosive, eye-catching, highlight reel type shots like he has landed in other fights. It just wasn't. So you had one guy moving forward, Another guy kind of moving backward and sometimes take a half step back and moving a little bit backward. But for the most part, he was circling Teofimo Lopez. And a lot of times when Lopez was coming forward, he was throwing one shot at a time. And then when Ortiz was moving away, everyone's like, oh, he's moving away, he's retreating. You know, that's not an offensive position. But if you're moving away and you're going, turning your opponent, and you're moving, he was moving to his right a lot. So he was escaping. He was going out through the back door. And on your way out of the back door, you're landing a touch jab here, a touch jab there, right? Or you're landing a right hook, and then you're spinning out, right? There was a lot of little subtle touch, ticky-tack type shots that Ortiz was landing that they weren't even really talking about during the telecasts. Because as the fight wore on, in the beginning, it was a very pro Lopez analysis, right? Very pro. But then when they started seeing how, well, he's not really landing, like second half of the fight, then they were starting to say, hey, something's going on here. He's not landing these shots, right? So this brings the question. Do punches count more when a fighter's moving forward and he lands them? And count less when a guy is sliding back and landing it and just touching, even though it's landing, right? You may say, okay, it's not a real significant punch, but it's a scoring blow. It's a scoring blow. And if the other guy's not really landing a flush shot himself, right? Because when you're moving back, he's trying to hit you, right? He's not landing flush because he's actually reaching for you, and he's not getting the full extension and turning the shot over and catching you right at the end of it, because he's actually kind of maybe touching you with it, but he's not landing flush either because you're moving away from him. So neither punch, when the guy's moving back and moving away, right? He's landing a touch shot, but the guy moving forward who's trying to get to that guy, he's landing a shot, but because the guy's moving away from the shot, right? It's not landing as clean and flush as he wants it to. So what punch is worth more? That's where the subjectivity comes in. Now, if you want to just say, oh, the guy who's coming forward and throwing, what he's doing counts more than what the guy is doing who's actually, he's moving away, but he's punching as he's going out the escape route. If neither guy is landing a flush shot or a head snapping shot or a telling shot, right? Then which punch counts more? I thought Ortiz was landing a decent amount of those right hooks, those counter shots, right? And you could see Lopez when he would back up and tell you to come at me, saying, come at me, come at me, come at me. The guy is a pure counterpuncher. He doesn't like to have to go on, initiate the offense. He doesn't like to do that. He likes when people come to him. So everyone's like, oh, well, this guy's a head case. He's inconsistent. He's up and down. It's whether or not he gets up for the fight. And I've said those things too. But I'm starting to see a pattern. With the Nakatani fight, excuse me. In the Nakatani fight, Nakatani was fighting him at range, right? Wasn't going all the way in. He was just kind of, putting his flag in the middle of the ring and posting himself right in the middle of the ring. And he was just, boom, keeping him at a distance, right? So he has problems with outboxers and counterpunchers. If you don't come to him and set up shop in that mid-range, he is not comfortable, right? He does not like to have to come to you. Now, you could say, well, what about Lomachenko? Lomachenko's a mover. Yeah, but he's an ambush guy. He moves in and out. And he likes to come get in that mid-range and throw those short, choppy shots, and then he likes to go back out and reset. While he was trying to do that, Lopez was timing him coming in with the jab. If like Sandor Martin, he would not go all the way in. He would just kind of edge Just edge, tap, move, tap, move. Stick and move, right? Same thing that Jermaine Ortiz was doing. Now, you may not like how it looked, but it was effective. So you got to count those punches, even if they're being thrown on the way out, off the turns, right? While you're moving out, stick and then slide, stick and then slide, stick, slide out. Those shots count too. Just because the guy's coming forward, you got smoke coming out of his nose, he's trying harder. Oh, he's the guy, he's initiating the fight. Is he really? If he's not throwing a jab to set up shots? Teofimo Lopez was not using his jab. He was just coming forward, throwing one punch at a time. That is not effective aggressiveness. That is, I'm going to try to walk through you and bomb you out of here. And he did the same thing against Campo, but Campo just didn't have the foot speed, didn't have the ability to gauge range and distance like Sandor Martin and Jermaine Ortiz did. So again, he's a pure counterpuncher. You don't come to him. Feels very uncomfortable having to initiate the offense. So he's not inconsistent. He's very consistent. He's consistent in when he fights this type of style, it's always going to be problems. He's not more than likely going to look good against it. That's what it is. That's what it is. And from the majority of the people that scored this fight, a lot of fighters, right? A lot of analysts, a lot of people on Twitter. I'm seeing polls. 65 to 70% of the people think Jermaine Ortiz won this fight. They think he won this fight. So all you guys that were using that, oh, well, everyone thought Lomachenko won. Oh, well, everyone thought Mayer won. I told you, there's always going to be that time when you're going to be in the minority. And there's nothing wrong with that. But now you're a victim of your own accusations. You're a victim of what you said before. You're the victim of what you accused others of being, right? So now, can we turn around and say the people that I had Jermaine Ortiz edging this fight out, 115 and 113, if you didn't and you scored it the other way, I have no problem with that. But now, where are the scorecard police with their pitchforks up in arms calling this fight a robbery? And I know a lot of you. There's not going to say a lot of you, but there's a lot of you, right? There's a lot of you that have called robbery in the past on close fights, and your defense was, well, everyone agrees with me. Well, some of you are on the other side of this one. And no, the majority doesn't agree with you. So what do you do now? Remember, I told you, all of you, I told you, there's going to be times when you're going to be in the minority of the opinion. You don't have to appeal to the populace or appeal to authority. You don't have to do that. I'm not saying you have to do that, but keep it consistent. The same people who scored the fight for Shakur Stevenson over Dos Santos, those same people, how can you say there's no way Ortiz won this fight? How can you say that? How can you say that? You really can't. So I want to know where the scorecard police are today. Where are the robbery police today? Everyone who wants to call these fights robberies when they're close, that could have gone either way. I have no problem with Ortiz getting the decision. None at all. I picked him to win. I advise people take the decision prop. I think this fight is going to go the distance. I said that. One thing this proves is Teofimo Lopez is a good fighter. Very good fighter. He's a very good fighter, right? But what this proves is I don't think he's great. I don't think he's the man at 140. I think Devin Haney boxes his ears off. This is my opinion. No disrespect. No disrespect. This just proves that we know what his kryptonite is now. We're seeing a pattern. Doesn't like dealing with outboxers. Doesn't like guys who are just gonna keep him at the end of the jab and aren't gonna step into that mid-range area of the pocket with him. He likes guys who just kind of plant themselves, pop, pop, move, pop, pop, move, pop, pop, move. He doesn't like that. He likes the guy that's going to come to him. He doesn't want to create, as I said earlier. Doesn't like it. And Devin Haney, we know what he's going to do. He's going to pot shot him from the outside. Teofimo Lopez is going to have problems dealing with that. It's that simple. It's that simple. So, Teofimo Lopez isn't this offensive juggernaut like a lot of us thought he was, right? Is he an adaptive, reactive fighter? Does he have extraordinary reflexes? Is he a sharp power puncher? Yeah. When you step into his wheelhouse, he is 100%. But when you don't step into his wheelhouse, what happens? Not the same fighter. He's just not the same fighter. And because of that, he is not great. He is not a great fighter. And I think history will show us that. He's a very good fighter. He is not a great fighter. Right? He is not a great fighter. It's that simple. So, a lot of you guys that said Lomachenko got robbed against Haney, you're the same people that are saying today that there's no way Jermaine Ortiz won this fight. You're the same people. There's a few of you out there, more than a few. I remember you. Go look at the polls now. The average fan scorecard on BoxRec. 100 people scored this fight. And the average fan scorecard was 116 to 112 for Ortiz. Most people thought he won. All the polls I'm seeing, like I said, 65, 70% are saying he won. So now, when you were criticizing us and telling us, you were gaslighting the fuck out of us and telling us how crazy we were, and you were scorecard shaming us. Oh, well, you guys, you just picked Haney. That's why you think Haney won. Well, I picked Teo and I didn't think he won last night. So that just blows up your fucking logic and theory right there. Guys became victims of your own accusations. Right? It's that simple. It's that simple. If you thought Loma won, that's fine. I'm the biggest Tyson Fury fan probably in the history of boxing. No one's a bigger Tyson Fury fan than me. I thought Ngannou edged him in a close fight that could have gone either way. I'm an objective scorer. At least I try to be. I have my favorites just like everyone else. I'm an objective scorer. And I give everyone else the benefit of the doubt as being an objective scorer too. Right? That's why there's going to be situations where people are going to be like, damn, I don't think that guy won. And most people are going to be on one side and you're going to be on the other. You're going to be on the other. It's going to happen. But if we're going to sit there and cry robbery every time the person we pick to win in a close fight doesn't get it, then I mean, it becomes ridiculous after a while. It becomes ridiculous after a while. Right? Really does. So, again, what punch counts more? Just like in the Devin Haney fight against Lomachenko. Oh, well, all Devin Haney was just landing mostly body shots. Lomachenko was landing head shots. Where the fuck does it say that a headshot counts more than a body? Oh, everybody knows. No, everyone doesn't know that. The judges don't know that. It's not listed in the scoring criteria that body shots count more than headshots. So again, this is always going to be subjective, right? It's always going to be subjective. I thought, as much as I hated the fight, I thought Shakur Stevenson beat Dos Santos. I scored that one 8-4. A lot of people scored it 7-5 for Shakur. Some people scored it 7-5 the other way. Listen, it is what it is. But it's crazy that the same people that scored for Shakur are saying there's no way that Ortiz can win this one. The same people that called the Lomachenko fight a robbery, right? Because everybody said that, the majority of people said Lomachenko won. Well, the majority of people are saying that Ortiz won. Shakur Stevenson think Ortiz won. Devin Haney thinks Ortiz won. Dan Raphael thinks Ortiz won. Lou DiBella thinks Ortiz won. Terrence Crawford thinks Ortiz won. Caleb Plant said Alicia Bumgarner thinks Ortiz won. Solem Orbita thinks Urbina thinks fucking Ortiz won. I think Ortiz won. Maestro had Ortiz winning. Drew Evo had Ortiz winning. Hamid had Ortiz winning. So again, where are the cries for robbery here? And I don't want there to be cries for robbery here. My point is, in a close fight, let's just accept that our favorite fighter may not always get the decision. I picked Lamont Peterson to beat Amir Khan. I bet on him. I got 9-1 odds, and I won the bet. Guess what? I didn't score the fight for Lamont Peterson. I thought Amir Khan edged it, right? I picked Andre Durrell to beat Carl Froch. I thought Carl Froch won the fight. So, it is what it is. This is just a lesson. Let's take a look at these punch stats and let's see. And again, these aren't the be all end all, but as I said before, they've gotten better in a lot of cases, not most, but a lot of cases, they are somewhat of an accurate description or an accurate representation of what the fight is, because these guys are not watching it. They're not watching it live. They're watching it at home just like us, so they have a better view. So let's look at the punch stats here. Right? First round was a swing round. I thought could have gone either way. Look how close this fucking fight was, guys. First round, Teo throws 22 punches, lands 3. Ortiz throws 21, lands 2. Oh, well, Lopez is making the fight. Why? Because he's coming forward? Again, so punches landed when someone's coming forward are going to count more than when someone's taking a step back, sticking and circling. So only punches count that when a fighter moves forward, that punch is going to count more than when a fighter moves back. And again, when the guy's moving back and the guy's coming forward and he's pulling away from the shot, it's not going to land as flush. Neither guy, if both guys are landing touch punches, just because one guy's landing it while he's moving forward and the other guy's landing it while he's sliding back, that doesn't mean automatically the guy who lands it moving forward, his punch is worth more than the guy who's moving away. It's my opinion. Once again, that's subjectivity. So in the second round, right? Lopez threw. Oh, these. I'm sorry. This is the jabs. I'm sorry. Let's look at the total punch stats. I fucked up there. I apologize. Power punches thrown. Total. Here's a total punches thrown. I apologize for that. So this is how close this was. I was reading the jabs. I'm sorry. So Lopez throws 32. Ortiz throws 29. Right? They both land 4 punches. But People are going to say, oh, because Lopez was the guy coming forward when he landed his shots and Ortiz was moving away, sticking and moving. Oh, those shots don't count as much. Okay. Did any of those shots that Lopez landed in that fucking first round snap Ortiz's head back, stun him, hurt him, stagger him? Nope. Let's look at round 2. Lopez throws 23. Ortiz throws 37. Lopez lands 4. Ortiz lands 5. Again, round 3. Oh, well, Lopez is the one initiating the action. Really? Then why is Ortiz throwing more punches then? Really? Oh, because Lopez is coming forward. His punches count more because he's throwing them when he's coming forward. You can't throw punches when you're trying to escape or you're turning your opponent and moving away. When you're jabbing on the way out and exiting and you land a jab, apparently that punch doesn't count according to some people. Okay, fine. Subjectivity. Got it. Round 4, Lopez throws 23. Ortiz throws 39. Ortiz lands 8. Lopez lands 5. Oh, but I thought Lopez is the one forcing the action. How if he's only throwing 23 punches and Ortiz is the one throwing 39? Yeah, but Ortiz is just throwing ticky-tack punches. Again, Lopez is reaching with his. They're not landing flush because he's landing against an opponent who's moving away from him. How are they effective if they're not landing flush? One guy's landing a touch shot. The other guy's landing a shot that's not landing flush because the guy's moving away from him. Again, once again, Lopez, round 5, 22 shots thrown, lands 3. Ortiz is throwing 32, he lands 3. So they're both landing roughly the same amount of punches, and in a lot of these rounds, Ortiz is edging him in the landed punches, right? But Ortiz is throwing 32 more punches. So if Ortiz isn't the guy trying to be offensive here, why does he keep throwing more punches than Lopez? He's throwing more punches than Lopez. So why is Lopez the guy who's trying to force the fight? No, he's not trying to force the fight. He's trying to force the fight and have it be the way he wants it. But it's not going to be the way he wants it. Too fucking bad. If you were throwing your jab more, you would have been able to set up your offense better, but you were barreling in, throwing one shot at a time. Sorry, that is not effective aggressiveness to me. And if the guy is sticking and moving on you and he's touching you while you're not touching him, then guess what? He's going to win these close rounds on my card. Round 6. Lopez throws 31, lands 6. Ortiz lands 33, he lands 6. So through the first 6, okay? 1, 2, 3 rounds, they both landed the same amount of punches. And in the other 3, Lopez landed more. Okay? So Ortiz, I apologize. Ortiz landed more. So Ortiz outlanded him in the first 6. Fine. So let's go to round 7. Ortiz throws 38, lands 8. Lopez throws 32, lands 11. That's a round that he outlands him. Fine. Round 8, they both throw 29. Lopez lands 6. Ortiz lands 5. So you see how close this is? Then you go to round 9. Ortiz throws 25. Lopez throws 28. Ortiz lands 5. Lopez lands 3. Round 10. Lopez throws 39. Ortiz throws 35. Lopez lands 8. Ortiz lands 9. Round 11, Ortiz throws 31. Lopez throws 31, lands 8. Ortiz throws 30, lands 6. Okay, there you go. Round 12, it's probably Lopez's a good round for Lopez. He throws 53. Ortiz throws 44, and they both land the same amount of punches. right? So let's count the rounds. Let's look at this. 1, 2, 3, in 4 of the rounds, they both landed the same amount of punches. All right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In 5 of the rounds, Ortiz outlands Lopez. So Lopez only outlanded Ortiz in 3 of these rounds. So again, this is a razor close fight. So the fact that Ortiz wasn't doing anything is ridiculous. Because Lopez wasn't doing anything, in my opinion. I don't think Lopez was doing anything, in my opinion. Neither guy did a hell of a lot. But in my opinion, Ortiz did just a little bit more. Right? So the fact that Ortiz didn't do anything because he wasn't coming forward like Lopez was, and you want to count the punches more when they're being thrown when the guy's coming forward, it's not how it works. Now the judges gave him the fight. That's fine. I get it. But it is what it is. Neither guy did a hell of a lot. But to sit there and just say one guy did nothing is not an accurate description of what the fight was. Go ahead.
Hello. Yeah. How did you score the fight? Because I did listen to the beginning.
Same as you. You and I both scored. We scored Haney Lomachenko 115 and 113, right?
Yeah.
And then we scored this fight 115 and 113 for Ortiz. So do you see a pattern here?
Yeah.
We don't just give guys rounds for moving forward.
Yeah. I wanted Lopez to win as well, but I gotta say, I was more outraged or annoyed at the Stevenson De Los Santos scorecards. The reason being, even though I had in the end De Los Santos winning only 7 rounds to 5, I just thought those judges were gonna give Stevenson that fight no matter what, because they had Stevenson winning 8 rounds, and not only the ESPN commentary was very biased, the Sky commentary, the international feed was very biased in that fight as well, and I just didn't see what Stevenson was doing in the first 8 rounds. I think I gave him 1 or 2 rounds. In this fight, the reason I thought Ortiz threw it away was the last 2 rounds. I thought not only did he lose those 2 rounds, but he got dominated. And in a 12-round fight, I think if you swing 1 or 2 rounds the other way, you could easily have a draw or 7-5 to
He found
Ortiz.
himself in the
Lopez.
same. He found himself in the same situation that he found himself in the Lomachenko fight.
Yeah, similar.
He didn't finish strong.
Yeah, he got dominated more in the last 2 rounds of this fight. Then I think in that fight he got dominated in the last round, but that fight was close as well. I've not rewatched that, but I thought I had that draw. But I thought,
Yeah,
if I
but you need to do one thing. I'm going to give you a little constructive criticism. You can tell me to go fuck off if you want.
what?
Stop calling close fights robberies. Just stop doing it.
When did I call it a
You
robbery?
you love to be the scorecard police sometimes too. I call
I
you out
didn't.
when you're.
I didn't say that was a robbery though. Which fight did you? The only I thought Kovalev Ward was a robbery,
It
and I
wasn't a
thought
robbery.
well, that's my opinion. I thought the
All
reason
right.
why, because Kovalev could have scored another knockdown and that still would have been a draw. I thought Pacquiao Bradley was a robbery. Apart from that, the only one I'd say this year or last year was I thought
Are you going to say
Campbell.
Michaela Mayer? Are you going to say
I
Michaela
know
Mayer versus Tasha Jonas was a robbery too, like everyone else?
I haven't watched that fight, but I need to watch it because
What?
I haven't watched. I still haven't watched the full Boazzi fight as well because I almost dozed off. But no, I thought Cambosos and Hughes was a robbery because I had Maxi Hughes winning 8 to 9 rounds in that fight, and I rewatched that on live. I had Maxi Hughes
Now,
winning 9 rounds. That
now,
I'd call it a robbery.
now, I'm reading some of these comments in the chat. Okay, Ortiz had the right game plan. He just needed to step up his offense more. Don't slip and move. He needed to shoot a combo slip and move shooting. Again, what about Lopez? Lopez needed to fucking jab his way in and set up shots instead of throwing one shot at a time. Come on,
What,
bro.
what do you think, though? If it was a 10-round fight, like the Sando Martin fight, then I'd say it was a robbery because I had that 7-3 going into the last 2 rounds, but Lopez looked really bad until round 11 and 12. And then because he won those 2 rounds, I had this 7-5. But there was a round I noted that I thought.
How do you say only one guy needs to do more when the other guy only threw 364 punches?
In the last 2 rounds of the full fight?
The whole fight. He threw 364 punches the whole fight, Lopez.
I think they both could have done obviously better, but in the last 2 rounds, that I don't think is a way to box in the last 2 rounds unless you won every round or every other round.
Okay, but how is someone going to get credit for throwing less than you and landing less than you, but yet that guy is being said to do less than you? It's the optics. When people see a guy stick and move, they don't like that. So you're counting a guy who's throwing punches, moving forward. A punch that is landed while moving forward doesn't count more than a punch when a guy steps back and shoots a counter shot.
That's true. I think it's more of an illusion.
And that's what people are giving Teofimo Lopez credit for trying harder. That's what they're doing. Now, again, this was a fight where either guy could have won. But putting all of the onus on Ortiz, he needed to do more. No, Lopez needed to do more too.
No, yeah, I agree. No, I meant in the last 2 rounds because I was looking at my scorecard. I got Ortiz 7-3 up, arguably 6-4. I'm like, just do something in the last 2 rounds, at least one of them, where you could say at least you clearly won the fight. But I thought he got dominated in the 12th round, and he kind of was running in the 11th, even in the 12th. But the thing I think I will say is it depends who you ask.
That's a fair assessment. But to sit there and say the whole fight, this guy did 0. That's bullshit.
Ortiz boxed very well. The first
just say I don't like his style of fighting. That's all. I'll accept that.
But I've not seen any white scorecards apart from Punch Drunk, who's clearly like a big Lopez fan, and Steve Weisfeld. They're the only 2 guys who gave Lopez 9 rounds.
Should we be taking comments like this even serious?
No, I don't think that criteria matters.
Can you show me where that matters? Now, in fairness to him,
if it's a draw, yeah.
HLD is a nut. He's a nut, and if I tell him this fucking phone is black, he'll tell me it's Onyx because he just wants to bust my balls, and that's fine. Let him do what he wants to do. But I'll tell him. I will say this: in close rounds, I do think judges tend to give it to the house fighter, in my opinion. I think
that's more corruption, though.
I think there's a subconscious bias in most occasions where, even though this isn't a rule, it's not part of the criteria. I do think judges sometimes fall victim to it. I'll give them that.
It's not just close rounds; it's close fights. You could see. I would say if it's like a really close fight where it's like 6-6, 7-5 either way, and like say last night that fight was a draw. I don't think that many people would be complaining because Lopez would have retained his title because that's what happens when it's a draw.
Right, but Hamid, all the people that were making fun of us because we had Haney winning, and you know what their reasoning was? Oh, well, everyone had Lomachenko winning. Everyone said Lomachenko won, right? Okay, go look on Twitter. Everyone's saying Ortiz won. Can we use that same argument against them?
Yeah, you know the reason I don't like that and I don't use it because all these guys like Shakur Stevenson and a lot of these guys who like that Mayweather style, they always saying De Los Santos should have done more, and they were saying that wasn't a close fight, and De Los Santos clearly lost. Like Terrence guys like Crawford. Yeah, Crawford.
Terrence Crawford had Ortiz winning too.
But he also had Shakur Stevenson winning, I'm sure, wide.
I had Shakur Stevenson winning too. I had it. I had it. I
All
had it.
right, I
I
had
had it,
that fight the other way. I thought De Los Santos
and
won
that's fair.
or
That's.
draw.
I
I thought
understand.
it was a draw.
I don't fault you for doing that.
Yeah, I thought we had that same scorecard in that fight. But the thing with that fight was, I would have been more cool with a draw. I just thought the way those judges scored that fight, if you look at it round by round, and the fact that they both had Stevenson winning 8 rounds. In that fight, Stevenson literally was not doing anything for 8 rounds. He's just walking forward. With Lopez, I would say at least Lopez was landing some body shots and was backing up Jermaine Ortiz. And Ortiz was made to run. With that fight, De Los Santos was kind of in the pocket and he was just making Stevenson miss. That's why I thought that was a bit more contentious. If not the decision, the way the rounds or the way the fight was scored. With this fight, even though I had Ortiz winning, I can understand why people would have Lopez winning or a draw because in some of those rounds, Ortiz he was making him miss. He just should have made him pay a bit more.
Okay. Now read this comment. And again, I'm not disagreeing with it, but Haney was kind of the A side against Lomachenko, wasn't it? And everyone was saying, "Oh, they just gave it to Haney because Top Rank wanted him to win because he's the younger guy." And what happens after the fight? He goes and fucking fights on fucking DAZN.
Yeah.
So again, be consistent with your theories. Be consistent with your theories.
What would you call a robbery then? Because you don't believe some of the fights I saw.
I'll tell you one fight that I thought was a grotesque decision. Do you remember when Paul Williams fought Arislandi Lara?
Yeah. I didn't watch that live, but I seen the highlights.
To me that was a very, very bad decision.
What was that one? That was a majority decision to Williams, isn't it?
Correct.
Which should have been.
And Lara was banging his head around like a ping pong ball in that fight. With all due respect to Paul Williams.
Yeah, there was some people saying Canelo and Lara was a robbery. I think Williams Lara was a robbery, but I don't think Canelo Lara was a robbery because I thought Lara kind of did similar to what Ortiz did. Lara just ended up running.
Well, see now, I had Lara winning that fight against Canelo, but again, I don't have a problem with people who said Canelo won that fight.
I had Canelo.
You know what happened in that fight?
Yeah.
Once Lara got his eye cut.
Yeah, he started running.
He started playing defense. I'm not going to lie about that. He most certainly started playing defense, but I do think he had a lot of early rounds in the bank. I had him winning the fight 115 and 113. He edged it on my card, but again. I don't have a problem with Canelo getting it. I don't even have a problem with Canelo getting a draw against Golovkin in the first fight. I had that fight 115 and 113 for Golovkin.
I had the same score. Actually, but win the same thing then.
If you win one round, it's not impossible to score that fight. Yeah, come on. You can come on, HLD. Even though you're gonna spew your biased nonsense, you can come on if you want.
Yeah, the problem with the Golovkin-Canelo fight was, I know a lot of people have a soft spot for Golovkin, but if you remove the 118-110 scorecard, I don't think it was that bad of a decision. What about Fury Wilder? I thought Fury beat Wilder, but I did not think it was a robbery in the terms of in the terms of saying it's a draw. I had Fury winning 8 or 9 rounds, I think, on rewatch, but I thought you can make an argument if you give Wilder every swing or close round. But I probably would have called it a robbery if Wilder got the decision because
I had that fight 9 rounds to 3 for Fury. So I had it like 1-4, yeah. I had it 115 and 111 for Fury.
That's the score I had on rewatch. Live I had it 8-4. I'd probably trust my live scorecard because sometimes on rewatch you can be a bit biased, but I don't think it was a robbery in the sense of the similar thing with Golovkin Canelo.
How did you score Fury and Ngannou?
I thought Fury nicked that by 1 point.
I thought Ngannou
threw that way. I thought Ngannou threw that way in the last 2 rounds because of he just stopped throwing. But again, I think Ngannou exceeded expectations, so maybe that may have, and no one expected him.
Now that 10th round was close, though. I didn't think it was impossible to give that 10th round.
I have
Two
not
and-
rewatched it, but I thought the last 2 rounds, Ngannou's output dropped, where Fury just nicked it on basically just flicking out the jab. But again, I thought that could have went either way as well. That was a fight that I had. It had a 6-4 for Fury, but you could easily had it 5-5 or 6-4 the other way.
Go ahead, HLD. Let me hear the nonsense. Go ahead.
Go on, King.
Good afternoon, Joe. Thank you for having me on the panel, man. First time.
No, you've been on before.
No, I've never been on your panel before.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I thought I saw you on before.
No, I mean I've been on the chat that I've been.
All right, go ahead.
Well, I mean the fact is the fight was a stunk fest. It stunk. Period.
It was a bad fight.
It was an ugly fight. It was a terrible fight. I'm not saying that maybe a little more could have been done. I think Teo needed to throw more punches in that fight. But cutting off the ring, you cannot cut off a ring to a guy who's literally running off four corners of the entire ring. That's all he was doing, is running around in circles. You're not gonna cut that off. He's evading you. That's not like you're just doing lateral movements here. No, that guy was literally running. So what was expected for Tito to do? So I mean, I don't for nothing do I believe that Jermaine Ortiz won. And embarrassing to me, he's Puerto Rican. I've never seen a Puerto Rican marathon runner boxer, bro. Not even Camacho.
Come on.
Camacho will be in your face and pop you out.
Go watch Chavez Camacho again.
Oh, you talking about old Camacho? You talking about old Camacho?
No, we're gonna do the
old Camacho.
No, we're gonna play
old Camacho. Go look at Prime Camacho, 1984 to 89, right, and you tell me what type of a fighter he was. Watch Wilfredo Benitez. Watch Wilfredo Benitez. Wilfredo Benitez. That's sweet science.
What about Camacho versus Rosario?
Oh, it was an engaging fight. I was in Puerto Rico when I saw that fight. I was in Puerto Rico when we saw that fight. No, man. This running around thing is gonna kill our sport. This running around thing is gonna kill our sport, because guess how many people were watching this fight probably that were just new eyes to the sport, and then they saw this stunk fest that this kid he had to come and take it. When I say take it from the champion, yo, you can't be just running around. You can't be just running around. And that's what I'm saying.
I thought he was circling him.
It was just circles. I mean, that's not that. Come on, man. You cannot say that. Who wants to watch this again?
Most people aren't going to want to watch this.
Exactly. So
I'm not going to lie to you and tell you this was a barn burner. I'm not going to.
You know, and I'm not saying that Teal's perfect. Teal needs at least to show that he can, change the game plan throughout the fight, because he just kept on doing the same thing over and over, and the game plan wasn't changed. I strictly believe he needs to find a new trainer. I'm not saying getting rid of his dad. I'm saying getting a trainer for strategic planning so that he can get
HLD. When after the fight, and you're asked to rate your performance, and you give yourself a 10 off of that. If you think you didn't do anything wrong, how the fuck can you improve as a fighter?
Yo, man, if you take what Teal says,
thank you, because everyone gets mad at me when I tell them not to take.
No, I mean,
when I tell people not to take what Fury says seriously, they I thought he was going to donate his purse to charity. Get the fuck out of here! You do believe that? You need to have your fucking head examined if you believe that.
The thing is, the kid has, he's got a real strong ego, and it's really, look, I'm sorry, he's probably the most hated fighter out there, period. So it's
Fury's the most hated fighter out there.
Nah, man, you go in the comments, bro. Just go to Twitter, bro. I mean, the world is against this kid, and so it's fuck you against the world. Man.
I literally have people come on here and on Twitter and come on here and try to shame me because I like Tyson Fury. How can you like that guy? He's this, he's that. And I understand. You can there's a lot of things to criticize Fury about. I am not a lawyer. I'm not here to defend Fury. A lot of the shit he has to go through, he's done to himself.
Exactly. I'm
not going to defend that.
Quote of the year last night. Suck a dick, no homo. Rosa Parks. Jesus is real.
Yeah, I mean, that's if you're a public relations person, and you see that, you're going to show that to all your clients and say, this is exactly what not to do when someone puts a mic in front of your face.
But
Fuck, bro.
but at the same time, it's all part of it's part of boxing, man. Boxing's never been fencing type of sport. I mean, it's never been. It's not tennis. It's always been grotesque. It's always been rugged, and some people are more professional than others. That's all. But
I
do
mean,
you think that Ortiz won the fight?
I had him edging the fight out 115 and 113.
The Steve Weisfeld card, everybody think that's wide. If you go look at it, his criteria of judging
All
a
right.
fight,
So
that's how he judges it.
So let's take. Yeah, I already said at the end of the fight I knew Steve Weisfeld was going to score that fight for fucking Ortiz Lopez. I already knew that.
Was
I
it
just
wide?
can't see
I
either
think
guy
it wide.
winning 9 rounds. If you could stretch it to 8, maybe, but
All right, so let me look at my card. So I had it 115 and 113 for Ortiz. All right.
Do you want me to give you the rounds I gave both guys? Because we both got the same.
Well, let me just do this one. Make this one
All
point,
right,
and then
go.
I'll give you the floor. So I gave Ortiz round 1, right? So I flipped that to Lopez, which you could do, right? And then round 10 I gave to Ortiz. You could flip that to Lopez, right? So then I have it 115 and 113 the other way. Now I'm trying to think of 2 other rounds that I could flip back to Lopez. I don't know. What do I do? What other rounds can I flip to Lopez?
I got it like this: Lopez round 1.
Yep.
I got Ortiz round 2, Ortiz round 3, Lopez round 4, Ortiz round 5 and 6. That's 4-2 so far to Ortiz. Only gave Lopez round 1 and round 4. Round 7 Lopez, round 8 Ortiz, round 9 Ortiz, round 10 Ortiz, but I wrote down competitive. I think that was a close round. Round 11 Lopez, clear. Then round 12 Lopez. I thought that was the most
So
one-sided
give me the
round.
rounds. Give me the rounds you gave Ortiz.
Ortiz, I gave Ortiz round 2, round 3, round 5, round 6, and then round 8, 9, and 10.
Okay, so I gave him 8, 9, and 10. I gave him round 6, and I gave him round 3. Did you give Ortiz round 4?
No, I gave Lopez round 4.
All right. So we have a different scorecard in the first 6. So you
I gave Lopez round 1 and round 4. You gave Lopez, I think, different rounds.
I gave Lopez rounds 2.
Yeah, all right.
And 5 in the first 6. What did you give him?
I gave Lopez round 1 and round 4.
All right, so I'll give him round 1, round 4.
Yeah, you got it the other way then, didn't you?
If I give him rounds 1, round 4, and round 10, that's 3 more rounds, and I subtract 3 rounds. So 3 rounds.
No, you can't go 3. You're giving Lopez too much credit.
Again, you scored round 4 for Lopez. I gave it to Ortiz, right?
But we both gave Ortiz round 10.
Okay, but a lot of people gave Lopez round 10.
All right, I gave.
All 3 judges gave Lopez the last
4 rounds. The last 4 rounds, I think.
4.
Was it?
Last three.
It can't be 4. Round 9 was a clear Ortiz I got.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you this: 9-3 is not impossible in my opinion, but it's improbable in my opinion.
It's too wide, didn't it? It's too wide.
It's improbable. It's not impossible. Like you would have to give every ounce of the benefit of the doubt to Lopez.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I could see as wide as 8-4. I think if you got.
But I know how Steve Weisfeld scores fights, and he doesn't normally give guys rounds who are backing up. He thinks they're retreating.
And,
but his scorecard. Sorry, could I just say
he wasn't
his
retreating.
scorecard
He was circling. He was like a vulture circling around for his prey.
Same difference.
Yeah, but
you like that one, huh? You like that? I knew you'd like that.
But Steve Weisfeld's scorecard for the Castano-Charlo first fight, which I thought you could have argued was a robbery, that I thought his scorecard was too close. He had, I think, the right guy winning, which was Castano, I thought, but he scored one of the rounds, a 10-8 for Charlo.
I've
Like
been disagreeing. I've been disagreeing with a lot of Steve.
that's
You
what I'm
remember?
saying.
You remember when I interviewed Steve Weisfeld on here before?
Yeah, this interview you did with him, and I think I've seen it.
Yeah, it's a good
It's a
interview.
while
I
back.
mean, he's a really good interview. But
he's
I haven't-
consistent.
no, I'm saying he's consistent. As soon as that fight ended, you know what I said to myself? There's no way Steve Weisfeld is scoring this fight for Ortiz. You know what I thought? I'm going to tell you the honest to God's truth. I thought Lopez was going to win a split decision. I thought at least one judge would give it to Ortiz. I didn't think all three judges were going to give it to Lopez. I didn't think. As soon as that fight ended, even though I had Ortiz winning, I did not think he was going to get the decision. And I said it. You can ask Calix.
But what about when you had 170, 111? I thought no way Ortiz got a 170, 111 on a top ranked show. Like,
no, when they said 117 and 111, guess what?
I
guess
knew
what?
Lopez.
And then I knew Lopez won.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because they gave the Loma fight to Loma. That was a close fight. I don't think that was that contentious. I think that was like, I thought if you could maybe push it, you could maybe give it a draw. But I thought Loma won 7 or 8 rounds in that fight.
Which fight are you talking about?
Loma and Ortiz. I thought Jermaine Ortiz did a bit better in this fight.
In that Loma fight, I think at 7th round on, it was all Loma. That's the way I saw it.
Loma, that's what I was saying.
All rounds, the 7th all the way through 12, I gave it all to Loma. When I first watched it live, I thought it was, damn, I thought Ortiz won, but I watched it again. I'm like, no, man, he washed him.
I gave you a draw live, but there was a round I remember.
No, I had Loma winning against Ortiz 115 and 113. I thought
the right scorecard. Yeah,
I
you
thought
could have
he
pushed it.
strong.
You could have pushed it to 8-4 as well. I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was a 116 type of fight.
Yeah.
You know,
that fight was.
I can't stand these guys who don't even score the fights, and then they have the fucking gall to call robberies. Look at all these fights that I fucking score, man. Let me see if I can get this in there. See all these fights that I got the fucking app. I score like every fight, man. I have all these fucking fights.
Hey, what app do you use, Joe?
It's called My Scorecard. It's fucking beautiful. I love it.
I'm gonna download that.
I have another one on I have an iPad. I hate Apple products, but someone bought me an iPad. I have another scorecard app on that one. I scored all the fights. I'm not saying I'm a professional judge, but
you try to be a Steve Weiss, so consistent, trying to get it going.
And, I have things I like, and other people have things they like.
I heard you mention Terrence Crawford, and that man is just turning the screws on Teo. We know that because.
Again, I know he is, but what I'm trying to do here is use everyone's logic that the same people that were saying, "Oh, well, everybody thinks Haney won." Lomachenko won, and then they're like talking about like rappers who picked them and.
No, you guys. I mean, look, I heard Tarver earlier this morning, and he's like, "No, man, you got to be engaging." Terrence Crawford, he's saying that stuff, but when have you ever seen Crawford either be in a marathon running around himself or fight a marathon runner? He's never faced that, or he's never fought like that.
If you go back, I'm going to give you 2 Crawford fights. And I'm not saying he was overly defensive, but he moved a lot in these 2 fights. Go back and watch the Breedis Prescott fight and watch the Victor Postal fight. He boxed a lot and moved a lot in that fight.
But lateral movement, and that's not the same thing as I'm going to actually circle around like I'm doing shadow boxing for all 4 corners of the ring.
And everyone thinks Crawford's gonna like stands and trades, and once he gets hit, he wants to bang with everybody. If he fights Canelo, I can guarantee you he's not going to stand and trade against Canelo.
Oh no, we know that. He's gonna
fight a similar fight that he fought against Prescott, and then he fought against Postal.
I disagree on the Prescott fight. I was watching that live because I think that was his HBO debut, and that was on the Rios, and
he fought a very tactical performance in that fight. He didn't bang with Prescott.
I thought he stayed in the pocket though, and it was against the big puncher.
But there's a difference of that type of style fighting, guy. That's sweet science, right? You're in and out and all that.
I agree with him on the Postal fight. I thought he was running at times against Postal. I will agree because I remember that fight started and Postal hit him with a jab in round 1, and Crawford got on his bike Now, in the end, obviously, it didn't make a difference. And Crawford at times stayed in the pocket and dropped him a couple of times. It dominated
Yeah,
the
he
fight,
dropped him.
but there was a time where he was kind of hesitant
But
to
that's
trade.
strategic. Like if you're gonna do that for a round or two because you're setting up the traps, you're trying to set up the timing right with the that's all. But when you do it for all 12 rounds,
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree.
you can't do that.
No, I
And
agree. But Crawford
it's
Canelo will be bad though. If Crawford fights him, I think like I think saying it's either gonna be a very boring fight where Crawford will have to pitch a perfect fight, or
that's why Canelo
Canelo.
didn't want to fight Boo Boo. He doesn't want to put out a trashy ass fight like that. He
I
doesn't
don't
want to
think
have that.
I don't think Boo Boo and think it would have been a big size difference. It's either gonna look really bad in 2 ways. It's either gonna be a mismatch because of the size difference,
I mean,
or
Canelo cut off the ring with Charlo, and look how much that fight was a stunk fest. I
yeah,
mean, when the guy is
this
avoiding you, you can't. There's not much you can do because you're not
I
trying to
agree. Yeah,
fight.
I agree. I agree. But the thing is, Lopez got faster feet though. Canelo can't do anything about that, and still Lopez
No,
is
but he was
struggling.
cutting off the ring against Charlo, and but even the man was not wanting to engage. So let me get out of here. Let me run.
No,
Let me
no,
get the.
that's what I'm saying. I agree with your point. Even though Lopez got faster feet, and even at times when he was cutting off the ring, you can't do something when someone is literally running away and trying not to fight. He's just flicking out a jab, and he's on like basically on his bike. Like
That was
it's very,
terrible, man.
it's very hard to watch. It's very hard to really even score fights like that sometimes. Like
Do you
I
do
think
you do you think it's going to be Jamal Charlo next, or do you think it's going to be Jaime Munguia,
I
or do you
hope it's
think it's
Jaime
going to be?
Munguia.
Do you
I
think it's going
can't
to be
see.
Crawford next, and then it's going to be Benavidez in September? I think it's definitely going to be Benavidez in September. I'm very confident about that.
But the rumor is this Charlo and Crawford because they're both with PBC. I just hope Benavidez
So
does get
so is
that shot.
So is Benavidez.
Yeah, no. I was gonna say
But
I agree with you.
Munguia's over there
Yeah,
with
that's the thing.
Golden Boy.
I hope Benavidez is one of the options
I would
because I
like it to
don't.
be Munguia, but
Munguia and Benavidez would be perfect, but
perfect.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
No, I think we might get stuck with the other twin and maybe he'll get knocked out because he's more engaging. I know he will
But you
be.
know what? What I'm gonna say may be controversial, but I'd rather see Teofimo Lopez fight Crawford than Crawford fights Canelo, because I think the Crawford Canelo fight is too much of a big size difference. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll eat my crow, but I just can't see someone jumping up 3 weight class, even as good as
Yeah, but
Crawford
you
is.
want to see Teofimo Lopez off of that performance fight Crawford?
But
But
Crawford is not going to
who
be on his
else?
bike, and neither is
Yeah,
Teo. So somebody's going to get knocked out.
that's what I was gonna say as well.
Teo
Someone's gonna
gets
get
knocked out. Let him get knocked out.
Teo
I,
probably get knocked, but Teo has upset the boxing world twice against Lomachenko and Taylor. I'm not saying those guys are as good as Crawford, but both of them were very highly ranked and accomplished
I think Loma
fighters.
is at
Well,
that
Loma
time.
was pound for pound number
Right.
1 or 2, was he?
Number one.
And I thought Teo won at least 9 rounds, maybe 9 rounds in that
I
fight.
had it.
So
I had the Loma fight 8-4 for Teo.
I thought it was 9-3. That was a fight I thought
Guess
was
who?
not
Guess
really
who
close.
else? Guess who else scored at 9-3?
Steve Weisfeld did he?
Steve Weisfeld,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, they said he before the Ortiz fight. He was the judge in the Loma Ortiz fight, and there was another
See,
fight.
he's consistent.
Lopez. I mean, yeah.
He's consistent.
I can't. You can't take that away from the man. The thing is, and he's the trainer. He's the guy who trains a lot of these judges. So I don't know
Yeah, he
what
does. He does the seminars and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, it is what it is. But this is just not good for boxing. This is what Shakur was trying to call finessing. Nah, man, that finessing shit needs to. We cannot accept this as boxing. We just can't, and we know the difference. I think plenty of us know the difference between what Mayweather do in front of you and make you pay. Than just running around all night long. It's just not tolerable. It's
I,
gonna kill the sport.
I ain't gonna lie. I got more mad at Shakur, and I
Yeah.
just than I was at that. I was more disappointed in that fight than I was in this fight, and I'll tell you why. Because Shakur acts like this street dude, man, and he's always saying he's going to kick everybody's ass, and he's going to do this, that, and the third. And he was such a huge favorite in that fight. And I don't know, man. I thought his performance was worse Then no.
That was the worst fight as well, though.
Yeah, I thought
Well,
his-
it's
I thought
worse
his-
because he's the champion and he's just running from the action instead of making this guy pay. See,
Yeah.
if this was the opposite right now, last night, that Ortiz was chasing Tio, I guarantee you we would have a great fight. I'm not saying guaranteed that who's going to win over the other, but it would have been a great fight. Had
Well,
he fought like he fought Loma, it would have been a great fight.
Let me ask you this: if that was Shakur Stevenson in there instead of Jermaine Ortiz, and they fought a very similar fight, who do you think would have got the decision?
Shakur.
Um,
Top rank.
you know, we know how, you know, Teal's everywhere. I don't know who, you know, how much love he really got from Top Rank or not. So I can't say. I really can't say.
I would probably say Shakur would have got it.
But you know why that was the worst fight? Because De Los Santos and Shakur were both very defensive. In this fight, at least Tio was letting his hands go and was coming forward. Like that round 12, what Tio did maybe saved him. Because I think it would have been a draw. It would not have made a difference in terms of the title. But I thought that kind of saved him in a way. Even though I had him losing that fight by a round, I thought that may be enough to get, if not get a draw, maybe even win the fight. And that was the case.
I think Weisfeld's scorecard made it the outrage. Had it been like 116 or the same as the other judges 115, it would have, you know, it's still a unanimous decision, but I don't think the outrage was when everybody heard that what 118 or I think it was he had it 118 117. Yeah, everybody kind of like what? So, but you know, let's hope we don't get more of these Thursday night fights like this, man, because that's two in a row, man, and it's just bad for the sport. I just look at it; it's just bad for the sport, and like last night, a whole bunch of new people were a lot of football players who probably never even watched, you know, are not tuned in. They're like, "This is boxing, man. Let me go to UFC. Fuck this."
Well, I'm glad
is this the Thursday night jinx?
It is so far. It is so far.
I did say before the fight got announced, Top Rank haven't learned their lesson, putting on another Thursday night fight. Well, I'm glad I didn't watch it, but I don't think it was as bad as the Stevenson fight. That was literally one of the worst fights I've seen. He's up there with Rigondia, Casemiro.
Oh yeah! Oh,
that was another.
That was bad.
That was really bad too. Hey, what's up with this Liam Williams Hamza Shiraz fight? When is
Saturday? Is it on Saturday?
On Saturday. What channel is that going to be on?
It should be ESPN because it's a Queensbury card.
What's up with this Shiraz guy? Is he a good fighter?
He hasn't really fought anyone, but he does look good on the eye test. But it's hard to engage. He is really big. He looks like he could be maybe fighting a light heavyweight down the line, or at least super middleweight. But I don't think he's fought anyone. He was on the Usyk and Dubois undercard. I've not seen much of him. The guys I've seen him fight, they've been no hopers or knockover jobs. But I've seen more of Adam Azim fight, and it seems like he's maybe being tested a bit more. With this guy, this is his first real genuine test, so it should be maybe an interesting fight. I don't know how much Liam Williams has got left to it, because since that Eubank fight, I don't know if he's even fought. And that was a one-sided loss.
Is that going to be a good card?
I'm not sure who else is on that card. I think that's the Queensbury Saturday night UK time card. It should be on ESPN Plus, I think.
Because the schedule's not going to stop picking up again.
There's a fight next week between what's that guy Top Rank signed who had a really good fight on the
Ashaki Foster versus Abraham Nova. That's a good fight.
That's a decent fight, isn't it? And he looks like he's a good fighter to watch, because that was a really good round. They had good fight as well. Him and
then we got Jojo Diaz versus Jesus Perez. That's not.
I think this week. That's this
Jojo's fighting again. I thought he dropped out of a fight just again recently.
No, he signed with.
No, that's February 15th, Ahmed. There's a fight. Alexis De Luna versus Julio Carrera Lugo.
Are you talking about this weekend?
Yeah, the Jojo Diaz fight is February 15th.
That's next Thursday, innit? Yeah, that was the one I was talking. I don't know. This Lopez fight, they maybe should have just went on the Saturday. Do you think that would have been a good idea or not?
I like Saturday fights better because I don't have to get up to
Yeah.
work the next day. That's the only thing. So
Well, hey man, I'm glad. Hey, let's be glad it's there on Thursday. Less people watching it, maybe. And you know, for what it was. But I think you know what, Top Rank, the matchmakers have a little bit to blame. If they wanted to put on a show of a performance, they should have got somebody who's gonna be engaging, willing to get this done like this. Maybe they didn't think Ortiz was gonna do this, but if you're trying to like uplift the damn sport and your fighter here, you put somebody like that you know is gonna bring some heat to want to engage. Whether Tio wins or loses on that, who cares? But that we get to see a fight. I think that's the main thing.
I don't know. It could be a jinx, but I just feel like these Thursday nights are, in a way, affecting. I don't know. One of the fighters was someone in a way because that's two shows now in a row that maybe they should just go ahead and do them on Friday or Saturday. Like, I don't know why you can't move it to Friday. Why do they have to go from
It's
Saturday to
cheaper.
Thursday?
It's well for this right here. It's because Friday is I mean just the 2 days before the
Super
Super
Bowl.
well,
Bowl, and Thursday the arena's cheaper. I mean unless they're paying a site fee. I guess. I mean I guess that could be too.
I'm thinking maybe it's because of the just available dates. You know.
But hey
Could be.
guys, man, all right, hey Joe, appreciate having me on the show,
All
my
right,
man.
man.
I haven't met you. I think your name is Hamed. Nice to meet you,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
friend.
yeah. Yeah,
Hey
you
man,
too.
blessings.
Yeah,
Thank you very much for having me
good
on.
talking.
All right, man.
No worries. Yo, Bib, I gotta talk to you about Fury Usyk.
Yeah, let's talk about Furious because I know you wanted to
I
talk to me
I
about this.
got we got into it, but into the comment section, I gotta say it wasn't when I commented. It wasn't solely directed at you. The main thing was I think there's a comment that Maestro made. I don't mean to what's it called? Call him out or anything, but
What
he said
happened?
that
Tell me what
he
happened.
said you and him, I think, went live a couple of times, but you guys were saying, was it him? It was his words, but I think you agreed with it. He said that Fury Usyk will be an easier fight than Fury Dillian White. I disagree with that.
No, I don't
Uh,
agree with that. I don't agree
all
with
right,
that.
all right. That was the thing. That was the main
What?
thing. That was the
Uh,
main thing.
listen, I understand people
He
think.
did a live stream that you were on. I'm pretty sure it's called
I don't think I
Fury.
was on. I don't remember being on that one. I'll be honest with you.
All right, I'll double check.
I don't remember that. I don't agree with that. Let me tell you this. I think Fury's going to win the fight, and I'll explain why. And I understand people's reservations about Fury because they're saying to themselves, because he's made so much money, is his desire there? I understand that.
Yeah, I got no
He,
problem. I got no problem if you pick it.
he has
All right,
a
go
lot
ahead.
of people. A lot of people are concerned about his conditioning. Is it going to catch up with him? Getting out of shape and then having to get back in shape. I understand all that, right? He didn't look great against Ngannou. I get that. But again, how serious did they really take Ngannou if they were going to schedule the undisputed fight 5 weeks later? They really didn't expect what was going to happen, in my opinion, right? Fury has got out of shape. He has had poor performances in the past, but he always does come back with a better performance. That doesn't mean that that's going to always happen. It could catch up to him one day. But until I see a pattern of poor performances, then I can't say the guy is totally past it yet, right? Because I had him winning the Wallen fight 9 rounds to 3, but he did suffer a bad cut. In that same fight, everyone was like, oh, fighting Wilder 4 months later, that's not going to be enough time for the cut to heal. And the cut wasn't a problem in that fight. But the reason why I think he beats Usyk is because Usyk is a mid-range ambush in and out type fighter, while Fury is a counterpuncher. He can box you well from the outside. He's a good clinch fighter on the inside. He can get rough on the inside, make it like a rough and tumble type fight. I think he's more versatile. I think the hand speed is comparable. I think Usyk has quicker feet. I just think Fury has more ways to win. And everyone's thinking that Usyk's this guy who's going to outmaneuver Fury, but once again, he's like Lomachenko. He comes to you. You don't have to chase him. He's going to come to you. That's the way he fights. So that's why I think Fury can catch him on the way in with the jab. And then there's going to be certain instances where Fury could just reach out and grab him and pull him in and maul him and clinch fight him on the inside. And it could get ugly and messy in spots. But I think Fury will be able to offset a lot of those things Usyk likes to do because of his timing, because of his quick hands, because of his versatility, because he's a good counterpuncher as well. I mean, I think he has a lot more weapons than Usyk does. That doesn't mean that Usyk's not great at what he does, but we've only seen Usyk kind of fight one way. We've seen him move in and out, change his levels a little bit, but he is an in and out mid-range guy. Fury has won in so many different ways. We saw him land that beautiful counter punch against Dillian White with that uppercut. He let him come forward and he sucked him in and boom, right uppercut. We've seen him walk down Wilder and maul him. We've seen him stick and move against Klitschko. This guy's got more ways to win. He never fights the same way in fights. He always switches things up according to the opponent. Usyk, pretty much the same type of style. And that doesn't mean that style isn't, incredibly effective, but I question whether or not it's going to be enough to beat Fury. That's just my opinion.
I agree with some of the things you're saying. I disagree with other things. I was favoring Fury at the moment. I agree with, I think, of Steve Bunce. I also think is more or less a pickup fight, a 50-50 fight, because of the amount of long layoffs Fury has had and the fact that he hasn't fought anyone. And this is the main thing. He hasn't fought a credible opponent since Dillian White. And I do think that could also be a factor, because if you keep fighting guys like Chisora, Nagano, and even Dillian White, who's nowhere near skilled or as good as Usyk, I do think that could hinder his performance or if not affect him. But if he trains at his absolute best and turns up in the shape he did against Dillian White, I think is a fight that could go either way. I've said that before. I think a lot depends on how
the best Fury versus the best Usyk, who wins.
That could go either.
Put a gun to your head. Put a gun to your head. You got to pick one.
I was gonna say that could go either way, but I think Usyk's lack of power could hurt him, and if it's a close fight that goes the distance, I think Fury will get it because of not only because of the size, because of the fact that he is, I think, the A side, and I do think in a fight that could go either way, like we've seen with AJ and Usyk in Saudi, where one judge had AJ winning. I don't think that was close, but I think this, if it is like that, and it is a closer fight, I think Fury could get it. But
let me ask you this.
Fury will have to be in better shape and condition.
I think Fury's going to come in at about 258 pounds for this fight. I think he's going to be in phenomenal shape.
260, yeah, that's about right, I'd say.
And that doesn't mean that that's the be all end all here, but I think it's going to be a step in the right direction. You made a great point, and I'm going to kind of expand upon that point. Turki Al-Sheikh really wants Joshua versus Fury. He really wants that fight. And people are saying, oh, why is Turki Al-Sheikh putting cameras in Fury's training sessions and stuff? I'll tell you why. He wants to make sure that this guy's getting everything he needs, and he's giving him the best environment to train in. Why? Like, Fury's in Saudi, fighting in the gyms provided to him by Turki Al-Sheikh, and Turki Al-Sheikh is watching him to make sure everything is going all right. And Turki Al-Sheikh put in the contracts, allegedly, I don't know if this is true or not, that he paid Jaya Pattaya to be the sparring partner for Fury. So he's leveraging everything in Fury's favor here. And that's not to say that he doesn't like Usyk either, but he's going above and beyond for Fury here. Right?
Yeah.
I think he really wants that Joshua Fury fight. And I do really believe I do think he favors Fury over all three of those guys. I think I think Fury's his favorite. One thing I don't like that he does, I don't like these in-between fights. Because look what happened. It killed the fucking Wilder-Joshua fight, and it almost killed this undisputed fight. Right? Get right to it.
No.
Now this,
I gotta disagree slightly though. The reason they made the Wallin fight was because Fury and Usyk couldn't fight in December. On 8 weeks' notice, I don't know if they could have pulled that Wilder AJ fight together. You may be right. They could have. Maybe they could have. But I don't know with the card.
no, but just don't do the fucking Day of Reckoning card and just schedule the fight for them to meet each other later.
All right,
You know
I get you, but I think they had
You know what I'm
that card.
saying?
They had that card booked. That's what Frank Warren said. They had that date booked, and basically Fury, because Fury moved to February, was originally the scheduled date was Fury Usyk goes from December to February. I agree with you. I rather they just him and Wilder fought, because I don't know if many people even wanted to see Wilder and Parker and AJ and Wallin fight at that time instead, because everyone wanted to see that fight. But what were you talking about? When did I see the Fury Joshua fight? Talking about that fight, because Turkey dropped something that I think not many people picked up upon. He, in a way, he said that if Usyk loses to Fury, Fury will fight AJ. But if Usyk beats Fury,
No, he didn't mention that. He didn't mention that.
the way he said it, if you really,
No,
really
he said he'd give Usyk another fight, any fight that he wants.
No. He said if Fury beats Usyk, more likely Fury will fight Joshua. But if Usyk beats Fury, there's going to be a rematch. That the way he said it was sounded like that.
No,
I don't know if
I think you misread it.
I think maybe the way his language, English, the way he speaks English, maybe it was a bit broken. The way
he literally said at the press conference between Joshua
there's a two weeks.
and Ngannou, you know what he said? He told Ngannou to his face, "I don't want you to win this fight."
Yeah.
He said it right to his face.
He said
he wants Joshua to win. He wants Joshua Fury.
No, but I'm saying, is there a rematch clause? Because on one hand, it looked like he was alluding if Usyk wins.
I don't believe there's a rematch clause in the Ngannou fight.
No.
There's a rematch clause. There's a rematch clause in the Usyk Fury fight. Yes, there is.
No, but what he was alluding to sounded like if Fury wins, there may not be a rematch. But if Usyk wins, the way he listened to that, if I could get that quote, I'll try.
We know what you know what the contract states, that they have to rematch each other within a 6-month period. It has to be signed. This just goes to what I'm saying, Hamid. The reason why he's putting 2 fights in there, just in case Fury loses, he wants him to have another shot to win. He wants to make Fury. I don't think Fury's going to lose, but he wants to make Fury versus Joshua badly. Troy, let me ask you a quick question. Did you watch that fight last night? And if so, who did you have winning?
What fight? What fight?
That means you didn't watch it.
No, I saw the fight, but what fight?
Ortiz versus Lopez.
I had Lopez winning. I had Lopez winning by split decision simply because Ortiz was just moving, but it was worthless moving and no aggression, at all. He was just moving, pot shotting, but no aggression. When you come to fight a champion, you have to take the belt. You can't just pot shot, move, and it was just worthless moving. It was just
you don't like when a guy lands while he's moving backward. No. All right, go ahead.
No, listen. You could land moving backwards if it's purposeful and it has some aggression to it. There's a lot of great fighters that did that. This guy was just tapping, run. He was basically just moving without purpose. Every now and then he would throw punches, but they were meaningless punches. They didn't have any meaning. They didn't have any force behind them, no aggression behind them, nothing.
Okay.
He was just pot shotting the whole night. So you can't win a championship like that. You can't.
Okay. I mean, that's we respect everyone's opinion on here.
And also,
go ahead.
No, the last time I was on here, I said that if Sheik Turkey lets Fury out the country, this fight will never happen, right?
Yeah.
He let Fury out the country. The fight's not going to happen.
Come on, man.
No. Look into his background. The fight will not happen.
Would you bet me?
Happening.
Let's do it. Would you be willing to bet me And if you say no, that's fine. I'm not going to shame you into it. Would
Mhm.
you be willing? Would you be willing to bet me $100 that this fight happens on May 18th?
How about this? How about I bet you $10?
All right, I'll bet you $10 because I'm not
Fine,
gonna.
we'll bet $10, and I'll
I'll
just
bet
cash
you.
out for you.
I'll bet you
You got
$10
Cash
this
App?
fight happens. Okay, that's fine.
Fight is not happening. He let him out the country. He's
Yeah, but
gonna do some.
you didn't think. Let's look at this logically now. You didn't think he was gonna stay 3 months away from his family, did you?
Why not? It's called a fighter's life. It's what you do.
Yeah, but he's gonna probably take maybe a week, a couple weeks. Like, what if he went back to his family for like 1 or 2 weeks, then he goes back to Saudi, and
No,
starts training again?
no, it's a fighter's life. No, if you're hurt, you stay in country and you heal. Why does he have to go home to heal? You know, they don't have any doctors in Saudi Arabia.
Well, to your point, when Foreman got cut, he stayed in Zaire.
Because if he left, he wasn't coming back. Just like this fool is not coming back.
Remember when Ali said, "I want everyone to guard the planes, guard the boats, guard the helicopters. I don't want this man leaving. I don't want him leaving." That was hilarious, man.
Because he knew he wasn't coming back. He didn't like it there.
So
And why do you have to go home to heal? That's my point. If he has his own personal doctor, they could fly that doctor in.
No, I'm not saying he has to go home to heal. I just like he's already did a whole training camp away from his family, so now he's got to start a new training. He's got to start a new training camp. Why not just take a little break and go home and just check out the family?
No, not with someone with his history. No,
because he said he's going to be back in Saudi soon. So
okay, fight's not happening.
So you think
just like
what is he going to use? What is he going to use for an excuse?
I have no idea. I'm just going by his history. He did it to Klitschko. He did it to Joshua. Oh yeah, I want this much. Then he got, it's not happening, brother. It's not going to happen. I have no faith in him whatsoever. It's not happening.
That's crazy. I think it's going to happen.
No, look at his history. Look at his history, which is why I feel the way I do. Look at his history and tell me he hasn't done this before.
Hey, listen.
More than one.
Listen,
More than one.
I'm not here to defend Fury because he's got a checkered past. I understand everyone's skepticism. One thing I will not say is I do not think he intentionally cut his eye. I do think this was a legitimate injury.
I don't know anything about that, but all I know is that he's not coming back to the country. He should have never let him out that country ever. Why? He doesn't need to go home to see his family. For what? There's this thing called, what is it called? Video chat. You can see your family.
Damn, you cold, huh, man? You're not gonna cut him any slack, man.
It's a fighter's life, baby. Usyk is where right now?
I think he's in Switzerland or something. Where is he? Where is Usyk right now?
He's basically still in training camp, is what I'm trying to say. Right?
Yeah. He didn't leave the place that he was at where he was training. That's correct. Well, no, he did go home and visit his because his wife had a baby. He did go home and visit his baby.
Okay, well, that's a different situation. And plus, Usyk seems to me, I'm not a big fan of his, but he's a man of his word. He said he's gonna fight. He's never pulled out. He never went to a press conference in a Batman costume. Said I'll see you later, and they never showed up. Right?
Yeah. So what do you think about Teofimo Lopez now? Do you think he could beat a guy like Devin Haney?
I think that him and Shakur need PR people. That's what I think. I think they need PR people. You don't tell the fans I don't care and eat a bag of dicks. You don't tell them that. And then in the same breath you say praise God.
That was very embarrassing, wasn't it?
No, that's very disrespectful. Because I don't care if you're in the nosebleed seats. I don't care if you're I don't care if you like in the front row. That's time and money that people spend to see you based on the strength of being your fan. You're gonna turn around then and then you invite them to your penis?
Yeah, that's not good.
Nah, it ain't good. So me personally, if I'm a fan of his, I'm crossing him off my list. I ain't paying for the damn thing.
Yeah, it's a bad look.
That's the same thing. Just the same thing with Stevenson. It's your fault that you had a bad fight. It's his fault that he don't know how to cut off the damn ring. It's not the fans' fault,
That's right.
right?
That's
Don't
right.
tell nobody to do that. How old are these? How old is Tio? 30?
I think he's like 26.
Okay, listen. I have 3 sons, 23, 22, and 19. They would have never said that. I tell you what they would have said. I'll look better in my next fight, and I'm sorry. I can guarantee you that because I raised them. They can't stand losing, just like their dad can't stand losing.
Do you have kids box?
Yeah, I trained them. But
Wow.
but they didn't turn pro though.
Okay. Yeah, the pro's a tough game. Definitely a tough game.
But yeah. Well, since you asked me about the fight, what you think about the fight?
I thought it was a bad fight to watch. I thought it was close. I actually had Ortiz edging it out, but it was definitely a fight that could have gone either way. Problem is when you're the overwhelming favorite, more is expected of you, at least in my opinion. And then when you don't perform, up to standard, if you're a 7-1 favorite and you don't perform like a 7-1 favorite, then it looks worse on you. So I think this looks worse for Teo than it does for Jermaine Ortiz. But it's
Absolutely.
A lot of people could look at this and say, you know what? Why would I want to fight Jermaine Ortiz again either? Because they're going to say this guy's going to make, he's got a style that's going to make me look bad. He may stink out the joint or whatever. So both guys lose in this situation, but I think Teofimo loses more.
Say something, right? Every time, and I actually learned this from like a lot of the old school boxers I used to interview and just people I used to talk to in the gym. Every time you step in the ring, number one, you step in there, win, lose, or draw, is to actually raise your stock up. You could lose and look good and still get fights, right?
Sure.
You could win, but there's different ways of winning. If you just go in there like this guy and just win, but you don't make a statement like Floyd at welterweight made no statements. He just won. Right?
Yep.
There's ways to do things. And last night was so disrespectful after that press conference when it was his own fault because he's a fighter with skill, but he's limited. How the hell you don't know how to cut off the ring and you're almost 30?
It's embarrassing.
Who fault is that? You don't tell the fans to you don't tell them to come to your penis and do all that. You don't do that.
It's not good.
Because people there with their children and their wives and stuff like that. No.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. There's women and children there. Dave, did you go to this?
What's good, Beeb?
What's
I got the day off like you, player. I got to get the Colin Beeb's Friday show.
What's up, man? Did you go to this fight?
Yeah, I was there. I couldn't believe how good a seats my wife got. I was ecstatic to be sitting so damn close. I got there early, took off from work. I saw Charlie Sheehy from the Bay Area fight, a kid that just grew up 10 minutes out of San Francisco. I was excited to see him. I even saw a pro box fighter, not a pro box, Thompson Boxing. Shout out to George Acosta from Southern California, who lost in his debut at Top Rank. That really sucked. Ran into his team outside. I was good with what Keyshawn Davis did. I thought that was expected. That's exactly what I needed to see. I've already thought Pedraza was washed up, and I wasn't going to be impressed by a stoppage from Keyshawn on that. So I don't know what we gained or learned from that fight. That's what I expected, but I did not expect the Teofimo Lopez Ortiz fight. And there was a couple of inklings even on the roundtable this Thursday. I believe Gail, shout out to her from NY Fight, said that what if this fight stinks? And I responded to her in the chat.
Uh-oh. I think he froze up.
Froze up or a signal fell off or anything, but
maybe the signal fell off.
Yeah, I just think that I just think
speak.
boxing right now has a bunch of ebbs and flows. I think
Dave,
he's back.
you back, Dave?
Oh yeah. I'll wait till Troy finishes his thought.
Oh, good.
But I was just saying, I was not expecting to see that fight last night whatsoever. To be honest, it did look like Teofimo. I know his headspace looked great. I ran into him weeks before. It did not seem like the Teofimo that we all rag on. I thought, well, okay, he's in the right headspace to perform like he did against Josh Taylor. But it looked like he really didn't prepare for what Ortiz was going to bring. It looked like he didn't prepare to fight a southpaw. All of a sudden now he looks like crap. He can't cut off the ring. It looked like he underestimated what Jermaine Ortiz was going to bring. Now, I have to be very honest about what the crowd response was. And Timothy Bradley, I came home and rewatched it right away because I made a video and I'm already getting heat for my instant reaction. The crowd did not think Jermaine Ortiz won that fight. They were very upset. Midway through the fight, it was, you guys cannot hear the loud boos that come through those microphones. I mean, it was just reverberating through the entire, that was not the type of fight or performance people wanted to see out of Jermaine Ortiz to kick off Super Bowl weekend. Okay. So that skewed my own opinion of how close this fight was. Every time I looked up and saw the CompuBox numbers, I'm like, this fight is that close? Honestly, now you could visibly see the frustration in Teo that he wasn't landing his punches, that he was missing wild. But you also couldn't see that Jermaine Ortiz was landing cleanly any punches. You really couldn't see that. So it just everybody around me, it was primarily Mexican and Mexican American crowd was actually rooting for Teo and at times trying to rally him to get something done. When I walked out of that space, I thought that fight was potentially a draw, and I was shocked at how long it was taking to tally up the scores. That was a shock. What was going on there? Hometown cooking.
So did the fans boo Ortiz as well as Lopez, or did they think Lopez won the fight?
Ortiz was getting the heavy boos, but a lot of the crowd. What's great about Mexican people, they don't hold anything back, man. They're screaming at Teo to get something done. Yeah, every bad word you can imagine in Spanish, they're yelling at Teo. They were disappointed in Teo too. So it was just an overall consensus was this fight sucks. What's going on? Especially with that incredible ring entrance, that led up to the fight, the whole circus shit. Everybody was loving that. Everybody loved the theatrics. Once the fight began, it became clear that, we were basically watching a repeat of the Shakur Stevenson fight on F1 weekend.
Yeah, it was very similar. It's very similar. And I remember
that was a terrible fight.
Yeah. And I also, the people were really booing Teo, because of that post-fight interview as well, too.
So I walked out on that because I had, the 49ers are, you guys know that, I'm part of the Niner gang. And they were all in the whole Mandalay Bay. They're having the NFL experience. So I ran out there to go meet my family that's come into town. I missed that. I just heard the beginning of him grab the microphone and missed all that shenanigans. Yeah, he's got some loose screws for sure. Teo's got some loose screws. But I think I understand what he's saying about the human race, B, because the human race is a theme that we talk about in raza, la raza, the cosmic race. There's a lot of, and I think he's just not very well versed on what it means. But I think I understood what he was trying to get at about unity and whatnot. I don't know, maybe people are being too harsh. I don't understand why he brought up pyramids, though. Do you?
No. Seems like he's trying to be like this philosopher. He's like sounds like a fortune cookie sometimes. I don't know where he's going with some of this stuff.
Yeah, I wonder if it comes from his dad. I don't know. Where did he get it?
Yeah.
No, but there's no way that you could talk. You could be a philosopher when the first thing out your mouth is boo, boo, boo. I don't care.
He told the crowd. Yeah, he told the crowd to suck a D, right?
Yeah. There's no way you could be a philosopher. And then in the same breath, in the same sentence, he said something about the law.
Right.
That's almost like me talking to Beeves saying, "Hey, Beeves, I'm going to slit your throat, but I love you."
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I mean, come on, man. You don't do that.
So, Dave, a lot of people, myself included, we thought this was a mental thing, right? A psychological thing. But I've come to the conclusion that maybe this is just a stylistic thing. He's not inconsistent. He is consistent. He consistently struggles with outboxers who stick and move and counterpunchers, guys who give him space like Nakatani. He won that fight, but he struggled with Nakatani because Nakatani was trying to box him from the outside, and he wasn't effectively landing clean against Nakatani. He still won the fight, but he didn't look good doing it. Sandor Martin was another one.
He got dropped by Sandor Martin.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I was the only person amongst the people I was sitting with that said Ortiz is following the game plan of Sandor Martin and executing it well. It all brought back that flashback. And
Correct.
as we're waiting for the scores to be tallied up, I'm like, well, shit, this is a very close repeat. This guy followed the Sandro Martin blueprint. And now we see that, Teofimo, he does very poor against southpaws that are active, that can move, young ones, not Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor's legs were shot. But if somebody his age, just as athletic, you could beat him.
He doesn't like having to be the initiator of the offense. He likes guys coming to him. So again, this isn't a psychological thing. This isn't him just being up and down, fighting down to the level of his opposition. No, it's a pattern of having issues with certain styles. And this outboxer, slick mover, counter puncher type is always going to seem to be his Achilles heel. And that's why I think Devin Haney would give him fits, because Devin Haney's really good at gauging distance. He's quick on his feet. He can move when he has to. I think Devin Haney gives him fits.
Yeah, it's a great point that you bring up, because that's exactly what I was thinking leaving the arena. Is I did think Teofimo had the potential to clean out the 140-pound division and sit on top of that throne, but I don't think that anymore. I think Devin Haney beats him. Devin Haney can pick up on all those fights, the Sandro Martin fight. Yeah, I think Devin Haney outboxes him and gets the decision. I don't even know how he does stylistically against somebody like Subriel Matias, because yes, there's opportunities there, but he's just such a devastating power puncher. I think he's going to hit much harder than Teal.
Yeah.
So maybe he sits at the bottom of the pack.
Yeah. I don't feel confident saying he can beat Subriel or Devin,
No, but I'm so glad you brought it. I'm so glad you brought up Subriel Martinez, because he's not what people think he is. He doesn't jab. He comes straight forward. He doesn't bring his hands back, and he knows really nothing about defense. So I believe that a focused Tio could actually beat him, because that's his type of fighter. He walks in one direction. He has no defense, doesn't jab, and doesn't offer any head movement whatsoever. That's the guy he needs to fight. After he beats him, he can go take on Gary Russell at 140. Gary Russell at 140.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So because he's not good against guys that move. These guys are not going to be hard to find. They're going to be right in front of his damn face. And after he beats them, he could call out Progress, take on Progress, because he don't move either.
Yeah.
He has to fight guys that complement what his skill set, not guys who move and box and all that, because he's limited when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So fight people just like Floyd did. Fight fighters that complement your skill set.
Yeah, he matches up better against Matias than he does Devin Haney, I'll tell you that. But again, Matias is up in your ass the whole fight. I don't know if he's going to be comfortable dealing with that.
I think the size difference will show too.
Go ahead, Dave.
I think the size difference. You could see Ortiz was much bigger, a natural 140-pound fighter last night in the ring, and I think Subriel Matias is much larger than TO2, his back and all, and his long reach. If I were to advise Teofimo, I would tell him to start with Raleigh as soon as to start negotiations with Raleigh and pick up Raleigh's WBA belt. And that's they've already got bad blood developing. Teofimo's been in the news recently saying we're no longer friends. There's bad blood between them, and both of them are crazy. Both of them are crazy. That would be, yes, it could be a mismatch, but listen, you got to start by picking up an additional 140-pound belt and then work your way to some type of like either the Puerto Rican Day Parade or some event where you're going to sell out the Garden and fight Subriel Matias, and there'd be 3 belts on the line. And then lastly, Devin Haney, if Devin Haney's still sitting around at 140.
Yeah, because Devin Haney could eventually go up to 147 too, because that guy's gigantic.
He's not moving to 140 anytime soon. He's not moving to 147 anytime soon.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they already talked about him maybe fighting Conor Benn. It's like everybody and their brother right now is calling out Conor Benn after that performance against Pete Dobson. I mean, he didn't look good against Pete Dobson at all, Conor Benn.
Yeah, he's actually too small right now to move to 147, because those guys walk around at like 165, 170 plus. So I don't think he walks around that heavy yet.
No.
Yeah, Conor did rehydrate to 170, and I guess everybody was shocked that Devin Haney came in at over 160 in his last fight.
Yeah, Devin was 165. Connor, I think, was 170. They said so. We'll see what happens. What do you think about this Fury postponement? Did we talk about this already or no?
I thought it was it May 18th?
Yeah,
I
it's
just
May
came.
18th. It's May 18th.
Wow, I hope that scar heals.
Yeah.
I hope it heals well. You know, I think I was shocked at how fast this fight was coming. Just a couple weeks after Super Bowl, I was really surprised. I was wondering if that was enough time for Fury to even prepare. My first thought when I heard about the cut was, "Oh, this is phony." You know, that I just thought it was another antic. But after seeing the evidence, I was like, "Okay, it's pretty serious." And those type of cuts take a long time to heal properly, so he can't spar. And hopefully, he doesn't get out of shape because I know it looked like he got in shape. He was pretty damn close to being fight ready.
Yeah.
When is he ever in shape, really?
Oh, in shape for him.
Yeah.
Everybody has their standard of conditioning, I guess.
Yeah. Listen, I don't care if the fight's set for June, July, August, September, December. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think at this point, third time is a charm here. They postponed it once. This was the second time. Third time is a charm, actually. I think they'll do it this time.
The only way to get him back in country is if they send a SEAL team out there to get him, kidnap his big ass, and bring him back. He's not coming back to the country. He's not.
Hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah. So I don't know what else we got here before we head out, man. Anyone else want to bring anything else up? Talk about the show, Dave. Was there any standout prospects on the show that you want to bring up?
Abdullah Mason, you know,
Yeah,
he still shows he's showing a lot of promise. Top Rank has got all these young fighters at 135 to keep your eye on. Obviously, Abdullah Mason, Emiliano Vargas will be fighting in shortly. You know, they've got the crop of 135. I think there is one guy that I wanted to bring up about, you know, hometown cooking and the house fighter gets there's a fighter. I don't know if you guys remember what his name is, but he's a Mexican-American fighter from Wisconsin. And he fought a guy from Long Beach that was brought in as his opponent. And he's relatively new to Top Rank. I think he definitely got a gift decision and everybody around me did too. What was his name? You guys know he was on the card. He was weighing around 165. That guy I don't see going very far at all. And he brought a lot of people there. He had a lot of his family and friends that came, and I think he totally got a gift decision. Okay. Other than that, yeah, it was a mediocre card in person, to be honest.
Gotcha.
Well, I tell you what, I want to talk about Deontay Wilder's now saying he wants all the smoke, but he didn't want no smoke with Zhang. And to be honest with you, if he wants smoke, why don't he just go get White out of wherever White is and give him the fight that he never gave him when he was champion? Because I guarantee White will knock him out now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if White beats him now. Yeah.
Yeah, because be honest with you, okay, name 5 top heavyweights that Wilder could beat right now.
Shit, I don't know. That's tough.
The only person that's inactive would be Andy Ruiz. Maybe he could beat Andy Ruiz. He's hit or miss and very inactive.
Yeah, Andy Ruiz. Who else?
Honestly, if I was Wilder, I would go and get, Kesnowski because he stands right in front of you, just like the other guy that he knocked out in one round. What's his name? Hellenius, and the guy before that, B, starts with the last name with a B. Big guy. I don't remember, but guys like that stand right in front of him and just take punches. Those are the guys he needs to fight because he's not beating anybody else on. He can't. The boy has no foundation. I mean, not foundation, but he doesn't have any fundamentals because he never listened to Mark Breland. And that big punch, you have to have a big attitude to actually throw that big punch. He just don't have that no more because Fury beat it out of him.
Yeah, he's going to be tough. I mean, he's back in training camp, but who's he going to fight, man?
And who's training him?
Same guy, Malik Scott. So I don't think he's going to.
Oh! You mean the diver? You mean the swimmer, the diver?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything we're going to see different from him. If I'm being honest. Yeah. All right, guys. I think I'll wrap it up. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Nice to hear from you, Dave. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself at the show. It seemed like it was a good crowd. And catch up with you guys later, man.
Absolutely. Everybody enjoy the Super Bowl. Have a safe one.
Yeah, everyone have a good
Oh,
one.
also, right, I'm gonna use that $10 to buy some chicken wings and watch
Okay.
Snatch. Okay.
Okay, Troy. Okay, Troy. I'll see you later, man.